morning. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here today. In fact, I arrived in India about 6 hours ago, so I'm a little bit sleep deprived at the moment, but I'm extremely happy to be here. I'd like to thank the IESA for inviting me to be part of this. I truly enjoy coming to India. I've been coming to India for many years. It's a very comfortable place for me, maybe because I'm also Indian, West Indian. You know, being West Indian, Indian culture, music, and food are very familiar to me. I grew up eating roti and curry and puri and parathas and chana. And as a youngster, I celebrated Diwali and Holi with my friends. We seem to have a lot in common. A really good education system inherited from the British. Our lives are centered around families and communities. And we share a love for cricket. In fact, the very first test match I ever saw was between India and the West Indies in that series when Sunil Gavaskar made his test debut. And I believe that for many Indians and West Indians, cricket over the years has been a match or a competition among friends. Sadly, however, in recent times, although the friendship remains, the West Indies team cannot really be considered competitors anymore. I'm going to be talking today about a little bit about Made in India, with special emphasis on, the hardware revolution. I'm not a macroeconomist. I'm not a politician. Nothing negative about politicians, by the way. I'm just saying I'm not one. So my thoughts and ideas are not based on economic theories or driven by political ideology. My thoughts, ideas, and suggestions are derived from my perspective as a global investor. They are heavily influenced by knowledge and scars gained as an entrepreneur and multinational business executive, involved in the development of several industry-changing products. And they're informed by my experience in building and managing businesses with operations in 35 countries that have collectively employed over 300,000 people worldwide. But in addition, my specific perspective regarding Make in India is also based on my personal experience developing products specifically for the Indian market, which included mobile phones in partnership with Motorola and Reliance, establishing a semiconductor design test and reference board development team here in India when I was the CEO of Aptina. As CTO of Flextronics, I was involved in building and managing world-class hardware capabilities here in India and supporting my friend Ash Bhardwaj when he created and built Flextronics software services, which later became Aricent. But my perspective also includes a first-hand view of the technical and other capabilities and talent that I've seen in India through my involvement in several acquisitions and in the past few years as an investor. I believe with all my heart that within the next 10 to 15 years, we will see several hardware companies emerge out of India to become key players globally. Market inflection points influenced by several drivers, which I'm sure we're all aware of. Opportunities to offer innovative and disruptive new products in large market applications by leveraging new and emerging technical capabilities, and a rapidly growing world population with an increasing percentage living in developing countries, are helping to drive significant opportunities for new hardware products and startups. I believe we are in the early stages of a hardware revolution. I'm a hardware person, and I know that over the last few years, apps were popular. And I have to admit that, creating an app is a lot easier than building a hardware company. But I believe we're going through a period where there have never been, at least certainly not in recent years, as many opportunities for hardware companies as we have today. Converged and cloud-optimized networking systems, intelligent vehicles, advanced sensing technologies, leveraging technology in agriculture to address the increasing needs for yield and productivity improvements, low-cost point-of-care medical devices, leveraging miniaturization, low-power devices and advanced sensors to create wearable devices, the automated home, and many others are helping to drive this revolution. It is my understanding that the Make in India vision is a broad one, but I've also seen from some of the things I've read that there are some people who believe that Make in India should be Make for India. Some people believe that the Make in India program should be primarily focused on reducing the high import costs of technology products that have been increasing exponentially over the past several years, and which some analysts are forecasting to grow to as much as $400 billion over the next 4 to 5 years. But in my opinion, the vision for Make in India needs to be broader than that. With the engineering talent in India, the innovative spirit of the young entrepreneurs here in this country, the local market dynamics, the spectrum of which include market economic demographics of our planet, the expertise, experience, and market access capabilities that can be tapped from the Indian diaspora, and the trust and goodwill the people of many countries have for India. Based on these, I strongly suggest that the Make in India vision needs to have a global perspective. Today in the technology industry, India is known primarily as a place with excellent software engineers and some of the world's best software services companies. There is no reason why, within the next 10 to 15 years, that India cannot be known for developing and producing great hardware products. This will not take long, because unlike other countries that started with low-cost manufacturing services and copycat approaches before transitioning towards a more innovative approach to product development, Indian entrepreneurs have always demonstrated a high level of innovation in your approach to product development. But realizing this vision will require that the Indian government establish policies and create incentives to help encourage the formation of hardware companies and the development of local electronic hardware manufacturing ecosystems. And maybe the government can start with something as simple as making it easier for companies to move goods from one state to another. Why should it be easier for a business to import products from China than it is to purchase them from a neighboring state right here in India? Please, however, allow me to offer a word of caution. India has some intrinsic advantages, such as a large domestic market and relatively low labor rates. But please note that even if one is targeting a local market, in order to be successful in technology, companies need to have a global perspective. No doubt, specific attention must be paid to developing competitive advantages and global scale in sectors where there's a large domestic market, but we live in a massively connected, highly competitive global marketplace, and technology is a global business. Even if one's market is local, your competitors will likely include global players, and the supply chain will likely include partners who are based outside of India. Competition will not just come from businesses down the street or in neighboring villages, but is likely to come from companies based in China, the US, Vietnam, Eastern Europe, and elsewhere. There are very few examples of successful technology companies that did not have a global perspective. China has learned this and is clearly working harder at building more internationally competitive technology businesses. And for those young entrepreneurs who might be listening, just because the founders of a local company are from India, that by itself does not mean you will have a competitive advantage. In fact, many of the multinational companies with whom you'll be competing may have Indian co-founders, since almost 50% of all new startups in Silicon Valley include at least one Indian co-founder. And even if they don't, there are local GMs who are likely to be Indian and who also understand the market. There is also need for diversity. India is rich with an abundance of technical talent. But as talented as you may be, some of the skills, experience, and expertise needed to make this Make in India initiative a reality will likely be found outside of India. So be open-minded about building the best teams and capabilities necessary to compete in a highly competitive global marketplace. Special precautions must be taken to avoid creating a culture of insularity. Be open to inviting and allowing non-Indian entities and individuals, including businesses, investors, and friends of India, to get involved, because this will ensure global competitiveness and speed up time to success. I'd like to highlight some key factors which I believe are essential to realizing this vision. Success will require world-class, experienced management teams. It is good to have the technical skills and abilities to fix problems quickly. But success is often dependent on a company's ability to anticipate and avoid certain problems that can negatively impact time to success and competitive positioning. Which means you young people who are looking to start businesses, it's sometimes a good idea to include some older people who have already been through what you're trying to do. You will need to develop the ability to design products that are cost competitive, which means being able to develop products that are optimized for manufacturing. That is not easy when you do not have a culture of manufacturing that exists today. This means we will need to develop world-class manufacturing ecosystems. You will need to control the cost of energy. The marketplace is helping us right now, but that's not always going to be the case. Although India has relatively low labor rates, realizing the Make in India vision will require improving productivity within the unskilled workforce. India has done a fantastic job of improving productivity over the last few decades in the skilled workforce area. We need to do the same in the unskilled workforce area. When we were building Flextronics from number 23 in the EMS industry to number 1, our mantra was, it was not the big that eat the small, but the fast that eat the slow. In technology, execution velocity is extremely critical. Speed matters. Time is our most important non-renewable resource. This means we must reduce government bureaucracy and improve the speed of decision-making.